Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster, and you may recall a week or so ago I put up a video about making a coffee scoop. Now it was a really enjoyable little project and it gave me an idea at the time to try something a little bit different. Now you'll see a little bit of a video clip this side of the screen, which is just me putting a hole in this little blank, and I'll give you a quick close-up of that now. Basically, I've used the biggest Forstner bit I had just to put kind of like a perfect little circular indentation in there. Now that's going to form the bowl of our scoop. And really this video was just about making sort of something very similar to what I did last time, but I thought to make it a bit different for you, and for those of you that don't have access to one or for whatever reason, I'm not going to be using an axe. Now I'm going to be using my little maka, but you can use any kind of knife. It works in exactly the same way. It's just that I'm really sort of still finding my feet with it, and I just want to sort of use it as much as I can. In combination with that, I'm going to be using a saw, and what the intention is to use the saw to remove the vast majority of the waste wood, the maka to bring down the handle, and then quickly move over to a knife just to tidy things up. So that's what I'm going to be doing today. Let me just move the camera a little bit closer in and we'll make a start. Right then guys, so I've got my little carve saw here. I'm really favouring this at the moment. It's a really nice sort of fine-toothed saw, and what I want to do is just remove these corners of sort of relatively close to where the bowl's going to be, so I haven't got too much carving to do later, and I'll very quickly do that now. And that's brought us relatively close down to those lines. I've left a bit of excess because we're going to need to play with it later, but you know, there shouldn't be too much work to do. And I'm just going to move the camera around for a second and we'll make a start on with the maka. Right then guys, so here is my maka, which is a lovely tool made by Ben Orford, and really you can use a knife for this if you don't have one, and I realise these are a little bit specialist. The benefit for me, again still learning to use it, is you can get some really nice planing cuts. It almost works like a one-handed draw knife, to be honest. Now I'm not going to bore you with all of this. All I'm really going to do is just start smoothing down some of these sides, reducing the waste wood. Again, you can do it with an axe to get rid of the majority. It was just really to show you that this can be done without using an axe. And again, as I said in my last video, although it may not look it on camera, I'm slightly offset with this blade, so if I come down and travel off the end of the piece of wood and keep going this way, the blade will pass harmlessly by me. If you are using a knife that requires you to pull it towards yourself, obviously you need to take a little bit of safety into account. Right then guys, so we've made a fair bit of progress with the maka, and I'll be honest with you, it is fast becoming one of my favourite tools for this kind of small carving. My only complaint, if complaint you can call it, and I suspect this is very much down to user error, is I can't seem to get as much control for fine detail work as I can with a knife. As an example, on the back here, which still needs a lot of thinning down, as you can see, with the knife I can just push with the back of my thumb, really controlled. Obviously I'm holding it with my offhand, which lets me keep it very stable rather than sort of trying to do something like this down on the bench. And I suspect it's just a case of me getting used to it and learning what to do and how to do it. But really, the next stage for this is just going to be tidying all this up and thinning everything right down with my knife. This is the Svante Jarv. It's not a Sloyd knife, is it? Carving knife of some description. I've seen this before, and I really like the fact that it's got a slightly rounded spine. I think I mentioned this in the last video, just because it gives that little bit of extra comfort to your thumb while you're carving for long periods, and you don't kind of get that sharp line digging into the pad of your thumb. So again, you know, I'm not going to bore you with all of this, but I'm going to carry on for a little while, just refining this down slowly. You know, I could have done a lot of this work with the axe, and normally I would do, but you know, I just wanted to kind of demonstrate to anyone that doesn't own an axe, or certainly doesn't have access to one, you know, that you can do this with just a knife. You know, the maka was quite nice to use, just because it's a new tool to me and I'm enjoying learning how to use it, but I could have done it all with this knife. And to be honest, as much as I really like this one, you know, I wouldn't say it carves any better than a Mora, whether that's a full size like a clipper, or the little small Mora carving knives, which I do really favour, and I do find myself breaking out my little sort of short bladed Mora carving knife on a regular basis. So as I say, I'm just going to carry on doing this for, I don't know, probably 20 minutes, half an hour I suppose, and I'll come back when we have made a bit more progress. Right then guys, so that's the knife work done, and hopefully now you can see what it is I'm kind of going for. Almost like that kind of stereotypical plastic coffee scoop that you get when you buy coffee or a coffee machine, but made in a much nicer looking material. Now unfortunately my Forstner bits left a little hole in here, which to be honest I haven't really got the inclination to get rid of. It would be extremely difficult to try and sand it out, or cut it out in some way, just because of the size and the width of this bowl. So I'm probably going to leave it in, and when I do my beeswax finish I'll just make sure I get some in there, and when I buff it out it should get a sort of a protective layer on the top. So all that's left to do now really is to sand and then finish this. I am going to disappear off on camera for probably the next half an hour, sand this down. I'll come back and show you what it looks like pre-finishing, and then I'll just give it its final coat of oil. Right then guys, so here is our sanded scoop, and hopefully you can see now what it is I was going for. It's kind of got that look of one of those sort of plastic free scoop type things you get with a bag of coffee, but you know, I think it looks much nicer in wood. You know, time will tell as to whether I use it much, and obviously once I get the final oil finish on, which I'll do in just a couple of minutes, you know, hopefully that will make this look even nicer. As I said, there is a little hole in there. I'm not too worried about it. It's just the little sort of guide point from my Forstner bit, but you know, all in all, I think, you know, design wise I think it looks quite nice, you know. And the thing with carving like this guys is that, you know, you can spend as much or as little time as you like making it look pretty. For me, I tend to go with function over form. You know, this will serve me well. You know, I could have just sort of left this with a really clumpy bowl on the end, but you know, I wanted to refine it somewhat. You know, I'm not a great one for ornamentation and things like that. You know, I've got a slightly mismatched handle piece here, which I quite liked the look of, so I thought I'd leave that rather than trying to tidy the other one up. But you know, all in all, I'm quite pleased with it. So what I'll do, I'm just going to nip off and do the final finishing, and I will come back and show you it when it's completely done. Right then guys, so here we have the finished product. I'll give you a little bit of a close-up. So we've had 2 coats of almond oil plus a little bit of that oil and beeswax finish that I usually use, and hopefully you'll agree this is looking pretty nice. You know, I'm quite pleased with it. I'm going to give it a try later on, see what the scoop size comes up in terms of servings. I've got a feeling this is probably maybe just about enough for an espresso. Could be wrong, maybe it's a little bit more. But that's it for today guys. Hope it was useful. Again, really sort of quick, simple little project, and do you know what, I really enjoy doing these. You know, something that I can knock out within sort of the space of a couple of hours. You know, come out into the workshop, have a little bit of sort of a, you know, almost a relax for me really. So yeah, you know, really enjoyable. Highly recommend trying it out yourself. And that's it for today. So as usual, comments and questions in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Thanks guys.